Okay. We're the only ones here. Anybody else is there? Oh, here we go. People are joining us. Okay. Yes. Could you shut the door, please?
Kate, good luck on Canada.
Thank you. No pressure. Okay.
All right.
Look at that.
Are we all set? Yes, good
Yes,
to go?
go for it.
All right. I am going to go ahead and call meeting of the Shutesbury Selectboard to order. Today is Tuesday, November 19th. This is a hybrid meeting. We have the Select Board and our interim town administrator here in Town Hall, as well as Tom Seifert and Susie Mosier. So as usual, I will go through the agenda and then we will begin the meeting. So first on the agenda is reviewing the agenda. Then public comment. After that, under general business, we have a proposed schedule and process for town administrator hiring, a draft town hall use policy. Then we're going to talk about a calendar for internal use, town employees, the tech instructions on using the TV for video presentations, review an open meeting law determination from the Attorney General's office. You have to sign the community compact grant for the regional fire study. Then we have the police chief contract coming up this year, so we need to talk about the schedule and who the negotiating committee will be. Review of ARPA expenditures. That's our the federal money, kind of the COVID money that we had, the town had received. And then if we have any updates from select board members who are serving as the liaison to town departments. Then we have discussion about it's a culvert at Fisk.
Yes,
The highway
Fisk Pond.
at Fisk Pond.
It's just
Okay.
culvert. Yeah, I guess it's a culvert.
And then town administrator report, and then wrap up with upcoming meetings. So we will go ahead and get started. So the first thing is public comment. If anybody has a public comment, I ask that you use the raised hand feature. I see one already. Limit your comments to about 2 to 3 minutes. If it's something that's already on the agenda, as always, we don't engage unless it's a very straightforward answer to a question. But we listen to what you have to say and make note of it. And it might come up later on the agenda. If not, maybe it's something for a future agenda. So I see the first hand raised is Elaine Puleo.
Hello, thank you for taking my comment. I hope you saw my email concerning the road sign for Harry Masterton. And now that I have it, I would love to have it put up before winter and everything freezes. And so I was wondering how that was going to happen and whether it is a matter of you instructing. I know Tim Hunting, when he was the head of the highway department, that he agreed that he was going to place it. And I was hoping that you would instruct or direct the highway department that they would also do that.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly answer that. So I think, Melissa, do you want to?
I can speak with Dave,
okay.
The highway super, and have him and his crew do that. Did you have a location specific to
Yes.
where?
Yes. Yeah, we have a location specific, and I'll be happy to, as long as you get in touch with them and tell them that I'll get in touch with him as to, how we'll bring it over there and when he'd want to put it in. I think it's going to need like a, post hole digger, cement, and putting it in, and probably a tractor to be able to actually place it. It's pretty heavy.
Okay, so let me touch base with him tomorrow, and then I'll either give him your contact information, Elaine, or have you call the highway department. Okay?
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Other public comments? Anybody in our audience here? Public comment? Okay, then we will go ahead and move on. So the first item on the agenda is to talk about the search for the permanent town administrator. And what I did when drafting this was take a really, a pretty thorough document that the Personnel Committee had already done for, a number, it was kind of a standardized process for a number of positions that get hired. But I just redrafted this specifically for the town administrator candidate search, and I wanted to go through that, but the way that it's organized in select board responsibilities and search committee responsibilities, it's pretty much in, the steps are set out as they will be taken, but a couple of things overlap just a little bit. So while this is not, I didn't attach any dates to this because I figured we really needed to, talk about, are these all the things that have to be done? And then we can start as a select board and with the, with the personnel committee, start to talk about sequencing. So do you want to put it up, Melissa?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'm gonna just
All right.
help this person out there.
So just very quickly, the first task to be done is to authorize the filling of the town administrator position. I gather that's, we'll take some sort of a vote. But then reviewing the job description and the way that the personnel board had theirs written was that they reviewed the job description, and I edited that to say that the personnel board would review the job description in consultation with the select board and recommend changes if needed. So before we can start the hiring process, we need to make sure that the job description actually reflects all of the tasks. And I think, we have talked about this over the last few months, that we really need to take a look at the job description, but we also need to take a look at the job description for the administrative secretary, because I think a lot of tasks that were, because we had the position vacant for a while, and then during COVID, there wasn't anybody here. I think there were a lot of tasks that were undertaken by the town administrator that are really more appropriate for the administrative secretary. And, over time, we might want to, take a look at whether or not we need to, upgrade that position. So, I don't know when, I had sent an email to, who's the chair? Peg.
She didn't
About,
answer you?
no,
Okay.
about when your next meeting is. Do you have a meeting scheduled?
Let me check.
Okay. And I thought what we could do, I mean, you are on the personnel
I
committee.
am, yep.
So does it make sense for the select board members to go through the job description and then, I don't know if we can give you comments or not, or give them to the personnel board? I mean,
Well, how we could do, so you mean as far as.
just for open meeting law.
So
Yeah.
here's my suggestion, is we could do ours, Gabe could collect them, right?
Okay,
And then, then I could take that to personnel board, or I could put it into one document and give it to the personnel board,
Okay,
in that way.
all right.
And then come back to you with their suggestions. I think
Okay.
that is okay to do it in that form.
Oh, okay, so, if we.
I don't see a schedule of a meeting, to answer your other question.
You don't
on
see
my-
a schedule
on
for
my-
a meeting,
so, yeah.
okay.
But we can call one too.
Yeah, so maybe if she knows, if Peg knows, that we are going to, it'd be great to get this done in the next few weeks.
Okay.
So if the three of us can look at the job description, get comments, send them along to Gabe, and then you can take them to the personnel committee, because then there's gonna be a process by which personnel committee will have to make its recommendation, and then we'll have to,
And then but then it comes back to us, and then we
we
vote
have to
on it.
vote.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
So if we can get that, that's gonna take weeks here, weeks there, so just to get the ball rolling.
Let me call Peg, get a meeting on the books. If we could concentrate on that, if to get those to Gabe, and then she can give that to me.
So do you think in a week, you have time, Eric, to, review and
probably,
Melissa? Okay,
Yeah.
so we will get you comments, no later than a week from today,
Next Tuesday.
next Tuesday, yeah.
And then I have a couple of days. I'll make sure that we meet after next Tuesday.
Yes, yeah.
Is that Thanksgiving?
So then the steps after that are, reviewing the job description, review and approve, and, placing an ad. And this is one where, I think, it would be great to have the search committee kind of set up sooner rather than later.
Well, you could two things could be happening at once, right?
Right,
So the ad would include the job description in some way, so we'd want that first.
right. What I have seen in other towns is kind of like a profile of the community. So if somebody were, didn't know Shutesbury at all, like, if we had a one paragraph description, it doesn't go into the job description, it doesn't go into the ad, but it could be something that, somebody who's interested, we could send it out to them when they,
Oh, I see, Jean, yes.
yeah.
A lot of it goes right on the website, right? If you just go to the
There's
website.
some of it on the website, yeah, it's just like population,
Yeah.
Budget.
budget,
Just the
right,
right-
that
just
sort
kind
of
of
things, kind of some of the
data.
basics. Yeah. So we could do that. Now, so we have to, before we put an ad in, I think we need to get the search committee kind of,
Established.
yeah, so we need to get a kind of a scope of services for them, and we need to reach out to the community. So number 5 here, on the upper part, on the
Oh,
select board
sorry.
responsibilities, that's okay. Talks about the composition of the search committee, including a representative from select board, personnel board, finance committee, interim town administrator ex officio, and we'll have to talk about that, Gabe, about whether, how much time, you would have. And then I put 2 to 3 people with relevant town government experience. And I don't know if that's the right,
I don't see department heads on here.
well, it wasn't
Oh,
in the personnel, so I took this from personnel committee's guidelines.
Although I suppose
I
it
added
might-
the
it
relevant
might
town
fall under-
government.
Yeah, I think it could also fall under the 2 to 3 persons relevant town experience.
Right. I sort of immediately thought about people who might have, served in town government but no longer do. I think there's going to be quite a bit of interest, and the challenge is gonna be kind of keeping this a reasonable size, because we all know when you're trying to, get 9 people into a room, it can take weeks to get stuff scheduled. So, I think we need to reach out, and then the question is, those 2 to 3 people, I don't know about department heads.
So here's this popped in my
Yeah.
head just as you were
Yeah.
going through that. So the search committee, what happens, so just because department heads work so directly with the town
Yeah.
administrator, what happens if they meet with the finalists that come out of here? That right, so that they have some input in who their supervisor was going to be, and meet the person. I think
That's normally a department head or 2 are on the search
Oh,
committee.
they are,
Mhm.
okay.
Usually it's either the police chief, fire chief, and highway boss, because those are the 3 departments that work intimately
Yeah.
with the TA.
Yeah, okay, so.
You wouldn't want all 3, but
No,
those
okay,
are the 3 that you'd normally get part of the search committee.
so why don't we say then, 1 department head. So it'd be select board personnel, finance committee 4, department head is 5, and then if we have 2 more people, that makes 7.
as long as we have the odd number, remember. we
Yeah,
need
I know,
the odd numbers.
and you wouldn't, if you were participating, you wouldn't be the voting member, but, obviously your input would be very valuable if you have the time to do it. And then the question is how do we identify those 2 other people? And is relevant town government experience correct? Or do we just want 2 people who don't have any but town government experience? I don't know. I put that in italics because I wasn't sure that was.
Might you put town government / committee experience, just because they work, again, the committees work with, but does FinCom fit that? And personnel board might fit that as well, because they're very directly connected.
Yeah,
to the town.
I actually was thinking about people who are not currently on committees.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying,
So,
just
yes,
experience with
yeah,
having some, but
You could just say relevant experience. You could
Yeah, I
leave
don't
out-
know, but what
Yeah.
relevant experience to what, being a town administrator, if it doesn't describe something, relevant could be anything.
No, I suppose, yeah. I was thinking more like someone who was a business, somebody who's in.
Well, that's what
business.
that's why, someone who has human resource, for example,
Right.
who has human resources experience. You have any, any wisdom to impart on this one?
It really is the town's personal preference.
Yeah.
FinCom normally should be on this. Search committees can get quite large as you are
Yeah.
trying not to do that.
I know.
But FinCom should be there because it depends upon, you want to know if that person has any money or budget experience.
Right, we have that, so we do have the finance committee there.
You
We have the
do,
select
okay.
board, we have
Oh, I
select
see,
board,
yep.
personnel, finance,
Okay.
interim town administrator, a department head, and then, maybe we just write, how about committee? We'll just make that, just to add government / committee experience, is that?
yeah, just,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, that's good, I'm
Okay.
fine with that, is that?
Yeah, that's all right.
That work for you?
Yep.
And then, so we will need to, reach out to the community, for those 2 slots. And we could make it 9 people, it just, 9-person committee, then somebody has to chair, it just gets unwieldy
It does, it's more for scheduling.
for scheduling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely for scheduling. And you want all of them to be able to meet with all of the candidates, so there's a
Well, so this, if you go down, then it has the search committee responsibilities. They elect a chair, establish a timeline, they'll do the screening once, we have resumes, establish criteria for selecting those to interview. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of, it's gonna take some time because you have to schedule people, you have to do resumes, review the resumes, do the interviews.
I think you were onto it where this could be, when the ad is out and live, they can establish a list of criteria without looking at the resumes, right? Because you have the job description, so you can get
Yes.
some of that done before you have the resume
Okay,
before your search.
right, sort of what we're looking for.
So that
Right.
there's a little bit of, and the committee can, get used to, their thing schedules and all of that too, so.
Yeah. And one thing I put in here is when reference checks are done.
When the what?
Reference checks are done.
So the committee has to decide how to do that. So they are a public meeting, you know that,
Right,
right? When they go into executive session. So they need to decide how they're gonna review the resumes.
Mm-hmm.
So their first meeting is protocol.
Right.
And then when they decide who they're gonna look at, they should check,
See,
you can do references either way.
I know, I don't know why you would do references of necessarily people you were interviewing. I don't know, I can go either way, and I've done, I've hired people, and I typically just did reference checks of my finalists.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
everybody who I
Yes.
was,
Yeah.
and so, that, I think makes more sense. Like, if if the search committee had like 5 candidates, you're not gonna do reference checks on 5
No, you
candidates.
can do it on your final candidate.
Narrow it down.
As part of the, conditions. So your offer is conditional upon
Right.
reference checks, whatever you decide to do.
Right,
Yeah.
which is late in the process if
Yes.
there's something that
And
is
it-
really,
Yes, which, that has happened,
yes.
yes.
So I'm more of the mind of not wait, and then suddenly you get you do a reference check and you say, oh my God, we went through this whole process and this person is not appropriate. So I guess,
How many are we asking this group to give
This-
to the select board?
it doesn't say, because I don't think we have any idea, how many candidates we'll get. I mean, ideally, we have at least 2.
Right, so this group is not deciding who gets the job, it's our
That's
job
correct.
to do that.
That's correct. So they're
then
doing a
it's-
screening.
Then at that point, maybe that's where we do the reference
Yeah.
check for the 2 or 3 that we might have, or,
Yes.
it's gonna have to be more than one.
And who does the reference checks? Is
And
it
who
gonna be the
does it?
select board, or is it gonna be the search committee?
Maybe that's the select board piece to it. I don't know, I could go either way on that.
I've seen it done both ways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can
There's
go either
no,
way on that.
there's no direct.
Do you have a preference for, let's say we have, the search committee narrows it down to 2 or 3 candidates. Do we want them to do the reference checks, or do we want, when the names are handed over to us, that we do the reference checks?
Yeah.
I still have a preference for us doing it.
Well, I'm thinking that at that point, they fulfilled their
Right.
responsibility, then it's our piece to do.
Right.
Right,
Right,
to
that's
decide
probably
between
right.
the candidates, and I think maybe one of us should be the one to hear and ask those questions.
Okay.
Right, and.
Yeah, okay,
And,
all right. We'll do it.
I think, yeah,
So everything is done in open meeting with the candidates. And then, we would review, we would do an interview, and then we can do the deliberation for the finalists in closed session if we want to. Is that?
Yes, I
Okay.
believe so. I would
Yeah, that would
want,
be
Yeah.
number two.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll double check that. I just said in conformance with open meeting law, and then make a selection. Okay, so does this process sound right? Like, so our goal is to get the job description
Within the next week.
done in,
Do you want the chair of the select board to designate the person's salary? That's what this is saying there.
well, usually what happens is when you get a finalist, then it gets negotiated with just one person.
Okay,
So we know what the parameters are, but then, yeah, it's the chair, co-chair,
okay.
does the negotiation. I know that's the way it's done in other towns, but if you have some other,
I have seen negotiations done in public forum on TV. I have seen them done in executive session with the candidate.
Mhm.
The choice, where you decide who you're hiring, is
Yeah.
usually debated and talked about in public session after you do the interviews.
That was like strengths and
Yes,
weaknesses.
and that is public.
Mhm.
Okay, and then just the negotiation on the salary,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and, okay, well, maybe we'll do it that way. Yeah,
That's okay with me.
okay.
At that
Contingent on-
point, when they
contingent on
come to
successful.
interview, they're public. During the
Right.
search committee, they are not, they're private. You cannot release who the resumes are from, who the search committee is looking at.
Okay,
That's all, it's not until they send you the candidates they've chosen
okay.
that it becomes public.
So I have it written, an initial candidate screening may be held as a closed meeting if desired. Should we say will be held?
Will be held, so you
Okay.
have a public meeting and then the search committee goes into executive session.
Okay. Will be held as a closed executive session meeting. Okay.
Those resumes are confidential.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I have all of that, the changes, which I can make and then circulate this again.
Okay.
You'll get in touch with the
Yeah, I'll get in
personnel
touch with
committee.
Peggy. We'll get
Everybody
something on the
has
calendar.
a week to get comments.
To Gabe initially
To
and then we'll
Gabe,
collect
so
them.
that today's the 19th, that's the 26th,
Mhm.
by 11/26. And,
So
And
can I
then-
ask a question?
yeah,
Are you going to review it before we give it to Kirsty? The three of you are reviewing the job description, and then we're gonna compose it into one. Are you then gonna review it to make sure all three of you agree with what your suggestions are?
That's a good question, you may want to do that.
so that pushes us back another week.
It does.
Yeah.
But I wasn't
Well,
sure.
That's okay.
Well, it could, or, you know, because we like meetings, we could always schedule a one-thing meeting.
We're meeting
for
every
that
week
one
now.
thing, to agree or not to agree.
Okay.
Why am I suggesting?
We
we
could,
do
I know. We could do it before town meeting. Our December 3rd meeting is our next meeting after next week, or 2 weeks from now, is December 3rd. So we could do that at the December 3rd meeting.
Or, here's a thought,
Yeah,
we could make Monday the cutoff to get Gabe the information and I can try to get it combined by Tuesday and get out on our Tuesday agenda, if you wanted it sooner.
Next week, the 26th.
The third?
but Jake doesn't work on
Oh,
Mondays.
that's right, never mind.
Right,
I'm
yeah. When she comes in on Tuesdays, it's
No,
like.
no, we'll stick with the original.
Yeah, this
the
is,
original.
yeah, this is why, you know, I knew this was gonna take
Yeah,
time
yeah.
as we were pushing it out.
So, yeah, we can always
So,
schedule a little bit.
Let's do it
before.
by 12:03, we'll review, on 12:03, we'll review the
It's okay.
job description, review comments on job description.
And then we present one unified
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the personnel.
yeah,
And maybe I can get the personnel board to schedule their meeting that Thursday,
that
that's
would
a
be
Tuesday,
great.
so that Thursday.
that would be
So
great,
that we
just
can
keep
look
it
at And
moving.
it can come back to us with our next meeting.
Okay.
And then, do you feel like we can go ahead and do an ad right after that? Or should we get the search committee rolling before we put, I don't wanna put out the ad too early and people are sitting around because we don't have our search committee together and we haven't figured out when we're meeting and now it's the holidays and blah, 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 you know? So,
Maybe just right after the search committee, then do the ad. There, right after we pick who the committee is,
okay,
I don't know.
and
something
do
like
the ad, and typically, yeah, we'll just have to look at ads and see how long, what the lead time is.
It's usually 4 weeks.
Oh, it is?
Mhm.
Oh, gosh, so maybe we do it sooner, if it's
Yeah.
gonna take 4 weeks.
It's usually 4 weeks within, sometimes you have to put in it until the job is filled and not
so
even put a
flexibility.
closure date on it.
Oh, okay,
Because, the market has been the way it
Right.
is.
right, and we need to get it into, like the MMA.
They're very expensive to advertise with, but yeah, we need to get it into the MMA.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure what their lead time is, it could be 1 week or
Right.
whatever, once we get the job description together, but you do need a search committee in place.
okay. So I think the same time we're getting the ad together, we're rolling on the search committee
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
All right, and then, yeah, good. Okay, so are we all good on that? If anybody has,
Do we have a list of the job description to modify, or just making it up?
No, there is a
There's a
job
job
description,
description.
and I think I have an email I can make sure that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have it.
I guess I'm saying I don't have
You
it.
don't have it, okay.
I'll email.
If you could just email that to you.
Okay, great, okay.
Great. All right, good, thank you. Sorry that took so long.
We were also gonna look at the town admin, secretary at the same time, so she'll both be emailed at the same time? Or no, that was more of an.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense to do it at the same time.
To
I
at
just
least
don't-
reference it as you're looking at one, you're
Okay,
looking, just
yes.
to see them at the same time.
Yeah, so if you could, I don't know if I have the administrative secretary's
I do.
job description. I probably do, but I just don't
Just
recall
as a
where it
reference
is.
point, I think it's probably.
Yeah, no, that's good. Because I know Susie shared with us some of your thoughts about just responsibilities, which was very helpful, about things that the town administrator was doing, and I looked at that list and I'm like, okay, I could take about a third of these and say, I think that belongs to the administrative secretary. But,
Yeah, it looks a
So-
lot like what I did in the admission officer in North College.
yeah. Okay, all right, so moving right along, the next item on the agenda is the town hall use policy, and I think, because I just got this to everybody today, I'm just.
Share that as well?
Yeah, you can share it, you can put it up, but I don't see us going through this, but rather getting comments back from folks, but I thought I'd just touch on a few, on a few things. So, excuse me. I did this as a policy for both town hall and town common, and I looked at some other towns, and this one, the sort of template from this came from another small town. And so there were certain things in here, like calling, having a lease agreement, seemed like maybe a little bit over the top. But basically what I tried to do is kind of cover what the, responsibilities were, how you ask to use the town hall, rules for the use of the town hall and the town common, and then there's the last page, which I highlighted, was, use of the kitchen. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to take something. I don't think this kitchen is really set up for.
Not ready for prime.
No, it's not ready for prime time, so I think we take that out.
No
altogether.
water. Let's start with just one thing, there's no potable water.
Right.
Go from there.
So if you, Eric and Melissa, can go through this and then get comments back. Can you give me comments back? They all have to go to Gabe.
Yeah. They've either gotta be presented in a public meeting with all three of you there.
Well, we could do that. We could put this on a future agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Let's-
We've
why don't
done
we do
that
that?
before,
Because we can add
it
to it.
So we could edit it. I just thought tonight, since everybody hasn't had
Yeah.
a lot of time to go through this, that, that you could go through it. And I, in the Dropbox there, I also put a form that the police chief, shared with me, but it was really, kind of outdated.
Mhm.
And I thought we had another form. Didn't we have a form if you wanted to use like the town commons, something other than what Kristen?
There should be, because you also need insurance. If you allow
Right.
somebody to use, they have to have 1 day use
Right,
insurance.
right. And that's on Kristen's form. I don't have it on this form, because I thought that there was another form out there, but isn't there? Because we've signed off on events.
Rita?
Yeah.
Oh,
there's
Kristen is
Kristen.
here. Hi,
So Rita, I took that directly out of the area where the mailboxes are in the center of town for people to come and get if they wanted to use it.
Yeah, it's so, it's like from 2002.
Yes.
I mean, it says, yeah. So,
I think
Kristen,
there's
have you ever seen another one, a more updated one?
Yes, I can reach out to some other contacts in other towns to see what they have.
Okay.
Because yes, I don't know if I heard this correctly, but I wanted to, I think that somebody else is in agreement with me. There's liability issues. So there are, things of that nature that are checklisted. That's outside of my area of expertise, but yes, there are different kinds of forms that are out there.
Yeah, and the only other thing that occurred to me is sort of like political events, and whether or not, let's say someone was, running for governor or wanted to have some sort of a rally on the town common. This is, a far stretch, but it didn't feel like that was addressed anywhere of like what type of users. And I know I talked to you about we talked about alcohol, because I know that that's
Right.
a big issue. But,
Well, certainly I always encourage people to use their First Amendment rights. And I say this, and anytime we've ever had a gathering there for anything somewhat political, people have always reached out to me saying, we're going to do this, which is great. And I always say, how can we do this where it creates a safe space for everyone? So maybe that should be something that is added to that. I'm not sure, because we've never had a problem with that before.
Right.
And I hope and pray we never do have where it's something so so much that we have to have a police presence, usually it's just a great, enjoy your day kind of thing. But I mean, we do prepare for worst case scenarios, so.
So Kristen, I know I neglected to send this to you, so I will send this to you too, and then if you have comments, we'll schedule at another meeting where we're gonna go through and make any changes.
Yes, great. You know, I can only just add that, you know, when I worked in Hinsdale in the Berkshires, I think I shared this with you. We had events all the time. They turned into very large events. They were so much fun, live music, etc. And these forms came in real handy. They were very important because it was a good checklist to make sure that we have, as the town, we have everything to support the event that is needing to be taken place or wanting to be taken place. So I can even reach out to them and see if they have a new updated one as well.
Yeah, that would be great.
Let me look in my stuff, because I think there was a form I either redid, and it might have just been redid because it was so copied so many times.
Right.
In my files at home,
Okay.
I may have something with that, and
Okay.
I see Penelope's hand.
Penny.
I'm just wondering if you could stop sharing the screen. It would help a lot
sure.
of people see you all instead of the search committee.
Sure. Thank you, Penny.
And then I think there just needs to be one more thing, Rita, and that is, because you brought this up, you asked a very good question. When does somebody need to use this form? I think if we had a more definitive answer, that would be great. I can tell you instances where it's been used and instances when it hasn't been used, but I think if we had a more definitive guideline to when someone would need it, that would be helpful for the public.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was, and we want to keep a calendar, and we're going to be vigilant about keeping a calendar for use of these rooms down here, because, you know, already there's stuff coming up, and, you know, we have the nurse here a couple of days a week, and then the seniors use it second Tuesday, I think, of the month, and then other folks have asked to use it, so we just need to, yeah, we need to decide who needs to fill out the form, and then, you know, who has, I mean, obviously, if it's a town-sponsored, or town committee or board, they have priority, and probably don't need to fill out the form, but, yeah, so all comments would be appreciated, and I would say that we would, not do this, we're not gonna do this on the 3rd, we're gonna just concentrate, and then, so, on the meeting after that. Okay, is that good? All good? Okay, so, next item on the agenda is the Google Calendar for internal use. And I believe it's up, I think.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
So, I assume that what we need to do is, introduce it, right, so send out some sort of directive about, here's a Google Calendar, if you know, people have established office hours, and if you're not gonna be in the office, that gets indicated on the Google Calendar. I think, you know, especially during this time when Gabe is part-time, you know, it's really important for us to know who's in town hall. And my big fear is people are gonna show up and say, you know, I went to town hall 3 times, nobody was there, and I couldn't do business. You know, we just need to, you know, we need to know who's where when, and then.
So will the general public be able to see the same?
No, it's just for internal
Okay.
use, so that, but I think like what Gabe did, which is really helpful, like you posted a calendar on your door and said, you know, here's the time, so there, it wouldn't be a bad thing for us to have like stated hours on the, like
Website.
I think they're mostly on the website. I don't know that they're up in town hall. So somebody just showed up. But I know, like I've looked you know, for Grace, when is she gonna be there, and,
Mhm.
it's pretty clear, it's up on the website, so,
This question came upon as I was, just a thought, is maybe with related or maybe another agenda item for another day, so tell me if I'm venturing away from this agenda item, is that we don't have posted hours for town hall, like, the doors randomly unlocked or, right, so it was always dependent, there was no like a cutoff for the door gets locked at 5 o'clock, say. And then it's open, you know, meetings that are here, it's open for meetings, right? So this may be a conversation for another time, but we've never
Yeah.
really had established town hall hours, which feels like we might have to do
Yeah.
or want to do.
Yes.
um,
Yeah,
For business, and of course, if it's a meeting, we have to have it open. So I don't know if that's an agenda item we should talk about another time.
yeah,
if it
maybe
fits
once we
this.
get the Google Calendar
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
up and running, and
Yeah.
then see, that would be great.
So, it sounds like we really need 2 Google calendars, one for town hall use, that maybe we could post on the website, and right now, Abby and I are using the calendar, one calendar for everything. But
Okay,
it sounds like we need to separate that out, the present, the one, internal one, and then the town hall one, which I think Abby will control.
Right.
People will have to come
That's
to
for
her,
down
and she
here.
will put them on
Yep.
the calendar.
yeah.
Make a reservation essentially.
Right.
And I think I put administrative secretary in here at
Yeah.
that time, so I was kind of focusing on her taking responsibility for that.
Yeah. I think she's watching, so.
Okay.
I see her hand up.
Yeah. Oh, she wants
Okay,
to.
Abby, you
Yeah,
have a question?
Come on, Abby.
Yeah, I just wanted to, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I can get the email for like all the employees. I know I have some of the department heads, but not all of the employees. That way I can reach out to them and send them their links. I was planning on making myself and the TA email the ones that are responsible for inputting the events or their schedule, but we'll give access to those employees if something happens where they have to make changes, they can make changes to their own events.
Okay, so.
What would be the best way of doing that?
So are you thinking about committees as well as employees? So volunteer committees?
Abby, which calendar are you talking about?
For the town hall one?
Town hall?
For the town hall one, yes, the internal one, just because if someone's looking for like, I'm spacing on her name, Grace's assistant one day, and I don't have her contact information, I don't have her schedule, just trying to make sure we have everyone internal contact information.
All right, we should work on that.
Yeah.
There should be a master list.
There should be a master list, yeah. Okay, good suggestion.
Might have to read one.
Right. Can work on that tomorrow. All right, so I'm just gonna write December 10th on this.
December 10th?
December 10th meeting. And Abby, I think I don't know if I sent this to you too, but I'll make sure you and Kristen both have the draft, and likewise, if you have comments, you can share them at that December 10th meeting about process and forms and so forth. And is Kristen still here?
Yep.
Yep. And Kristen, if you get anything from another community that you think is worthwhile, why don't you forward it along to me so I could incorporate, I could make the changes.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, good.
Sorry, the
Good.
dogs voted in on that as well, so.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna put something down here while I'm thinking about it. The next item on the agenda is the tech instructions for using the TV.
Yes, So Gabe and I have made this almost plug and play, although of course it didn't quite work that way tonight. So we gotta figure that out. But we have brought in a docking station. So right now, everything's running through the docking station. It's running to the TV, which now is no longer a trip hazard. The cord is no longer a trip hazard.
Great.
And it's all, so technically, there's nothing here that I'm using, that this is town hall stuff now, except for my computer, that we will have a laptop, once we figure out why that didn't work today. That'll be here so people can use a laptop potentially, or their own. It'll be, you just plug everything in, right into your thing. You should be able to play and go. And then we'll have so this, it's simpler instructions than it was at our last meeting.
Okay, so they'll be down here written?
Yes.
So, I know it came up for the town nurse.
Yeah, and I believe what she was trying to do, from listening to was just to have it up on the screen, so just be able to have, not actually interact like we were in a meeting, but to have bring it up on the screen, just to be able to
To
see.
shoot a slideshow.
Right,
Okay.
and so that we'll have this set up. Yeah, so it'll become a monitor like it has and it'll be plug and play. You turn it on and you slide it in the computer, and it should be plug and play.
Okay, all right, great.
So we're closer, We are closer.
We're very quick.
Yeah.
Should be, that's the perfect phrase, should be.
Right, so the other thing we will have to figure out, and Grace was helpful with a couple of ideas today, is when we do have a laptop down here for use, we're gonna have to make sure it's secure in some way.
Right.
And so, I was talking, some sort of mobile carts that can be, and it can be locked too, and everything connected. So it literally is plug it into the power and turn it on. Try to get to that point.
Okay.
But we're halfway there.
Yeah, it's a process, yeah.
It is a process.
Great, progress is good. Okay, next item is we had a letter from the Attorney General's office regarding a review of an open meeting law complaint. And I didn't make a copy of it, but there was a finding in that review, as I recall, it had to do with the amount of time before we responded. And so it's just, again, a reminder to all of us and to the town clerk that we need to be attentive to deadlines. I mean, we had another a public records request come in, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge. So, we can talk about that maybe when we do the town administrator update. With us typically meeting only every 2 weeks, we have a town administrator who's, here a couple of days a week and just doing bits and pieces in between. So, and then we have a town clerk who, for example, next week is out for 3 days. So it's,
So it may be something too, I think, that might have been an issue with this one that we got the determination back from, is that it was, should be sent to select boards so that there's multiple people who receive it to be able to work on it.
right.
And this is something that could have maybe led to the determination that was late, because it.
Yeah, so the most recent public records request came into the town clerk, but then when it was sent out, it was just sent to me and to the town administrator. So it wasn't sent to the whole select board, and it involves all of us. I mean, it really should be, we all should be getting that, so that we're making sure, we're all kind of on top of it. So I forwarded it then to the other select board members. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the signing of the community compact grant. So this is where the town is receiving $30,000 from Community Compact, which is a state a state program which encourages regionalization and kind of efficiency in government. And this funding will be used for the second phase of the fire department regionalization study, which is being done with Leverett, Wendell, New Salem, and Shutesbury. So the first phase was completed, and the Collins Center is a center at UMass that does a lot of consulting with municipalities. I think that's what they do. They actually do hiring too. When I was looking at their website, I said, oh, they'll let you hire them to do your town administrator search for lots of money, I'm sure. So we have to sign that contract?
Yes, and I believe I gave it to Abby. That's a question I have. Normally, I'm used to doing a packet for the select board every meeting.
Yeah.
Normally, it would be in your packet to sign now, so you wouldn't have to come back
Right,
in to
yeah,
sign
very
it.
often Becky would just, she would bring that.
Yeah, so we need, it is upstairs to be signed. I can maybe see where it is. Maybe Ally can tell me, and I can go get it.
Abby?
Are you still there? Okay. I'll start bringing them.
Okay.
Because we have another one for the next meeting, so.
And does that have to be sent like scanned?
Usually I scan it and send it to the lady, and Jen, the lady, has already asked me if we signed it or not, and I told her we were doing it tonight.
Okay.
So we've got to get it back to her.
Abby's got her hand up.
Yeah.
Hey,
Abby?
sorry, I lost connection for a couple of seconds, so I couldn't hear what y'all were looking for. What is it again?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm sorry. It's the contract, the community pact contract that I had in the folder for the meeting tonight.
It's still in my office. It's right on top of my desk calendar.
Okay, I'm gonna go get it if you don't mind, Abby.
Yeah, of course.
In your office. Okay, so I will get it.
Okay, so maybe we just take a vote
Yes,
to sign it, and then when you get it, we just sign it.
Before you go, yeah.
So do I hear a motion to execute the community compact grant for the fire department regionalization grant?
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion about it? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker,
Carol, aye. Okay. The next item on the agenda is just to talk about the police chief contract, which expires June 30th. And typically with these, I know Gabe asked about this right away when she started, to put together a schedule and a negotiating committee. And so I thought we could talk about that this evening. And I have no sense, I have not been part of negotiations. So
What would you like to know?
well, I guess, if we started with the schedule, do we wait until January, or do we start in December? And then I assume the negotiating committee is a smaller group of people, right? Typically.
It's usually two.
Two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even
Well-
for big towns, it's two. It's the TA, and I'm used to it being the TA and a select board member or an HR member.
Okay.
So the practice, not the policy, so I want to make that perfectly clear. The practice had been the TA, a personnel board of FinCom, a select board member, and that had been, that had been the practice.
But I mean, when we were doing the town administrator contract, we kind of took that back in-house.
Because we have that choice to do that,
Right.
right? So we could decide to do it. It's in a two-person, a three, we do have that ability to
Right.
choose.
Right.
That, so past practice, and then what we had done, so, you know.
So typically it's done during the workday. Did you do it in the past during the workday? No. Typically it's done during the workday. You schedule the time to meet and you both bring your sides to it. I just found the contract, but I haven't read it. And then normally it goes to the select board and you go into executive session.
Right.
And we are using a different format for the contract, which I don't believe I gave to you.
No, but that's okay. So, it's really what,
Well, I know we have a couple of people here, at least one from the finance committee, anybody from the you're on the personnel committee. April, do you have any, your personnel and finance? No.
Yes, I am. I'm both.
Okay.
The quorum, we just want to make sure
Right,
that
yes,
is.
yeah.
Just
She
seeing
and
if
I
you're
do not
awake.
make a quorum.
We just don't want to see if you were paying attention.
Yes.
And you were a select board member for 9 years,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What's your take on the,
I guess I found it very helpful to have negotiating committees come from somebody from the select board, the finance committee, and personnel board. You know, having those three different perspectives. It also then didn't become its own board. You know, we could meet without having to. We could meet privately, I guess. But I found it very helpful to have different perspectives, though ultimately, clearly, it's the select board decides, you know, to sign before signing any contract. But I think it's helpful to have the different perspectives.
Melissa?
I definitely can see what April's saying. I also, I found it helpful in a way that we had done it, the three of us. Important in the way that we interacted so directly with that person. So because it's a situation where we supervise the police chief directly, I wonder if what Gabe had mentioned with the two and then bringing it to the select board might be a good idea. She has a strong chief position. We had chosen for strong chiefs, fire and police chief, which gives just discretion in the department for her. So I'm not exactly, you know, sure which way to, you know, it's hard because, because I think, we did change the format of the contract. Does that push it in either direction? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
think
don't
so.
think so. Eric, do you have any?
You know,
Well, I mean, I like what April was sort of saying, what's sort of a more diverse committee, just because it's a diverse committee, might have some different ideas, different opinions, which might be good, I would think. It's not a huge committee, so it's not gonna be a.
Right. And for the most part, I would assume it could be done during the
work day,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think it also sort of reinforces how our town government has often worked, you know, sort of worked through a process where, you know, we're listening to each other. Each board, each committee listens to each other, and I think that's a better way to make decisions, you know, through process. You know, so having somebody from the finance committee, somebody from the personnel board, somebody from the select board, though ultimately it is a select board, that doesn't remove your authority at all. But I think it gives it so it's not so insular.
so here's the question, right? So one of us, if we're sending a select board member to the negotiation, right? How does that select board know what the other two select board members feel to be able to represent that?
Well, you could go back into you could bring something back to executive session. It's just like with the solar.
Right, so
litigation,
so, you know,
can
like
come
how
back.
do you know, because that's not something you discuss in open session, because it determines the negotiation, right?
No,
So,
they have,
yeah.
when they come back after they've got, you can come back several times.
Yeah.
But when they come back with their recommendations, or an agreement between the two parties, then you three have to go in executive session.
But I was thinking even during the course of the discussions,
Every time.
if
Oh, yeah, I see.
one of
I've
us
done
was
3 or
there
4
and then
executive- right,
you come
every
back and you
time
say, geez, this is the direction it's going in, is this gonna be okay?
Yeah, check in, right?
Yeah, so I think that, so if we did that, then I'm pretty comfortable with going with the format of doing the personnel
I
finance.
feel comfortable with that, just
Yeah.
because, you know, if I'm thinking, if I'm sitting there, I don't know what you guys are thinking.
Right.
But how
But you'd
do I,
have to
I
come
can't
back.
inform you,
Right.
or say, hey, is this what you,
Mhm.
you know, is this where we want to go? So I think that's I like adding that piece.
Well, and I think part of the beauty is that each person has a different perspective. So, and we don't know what each other are thinking. Yeah, so I guess I would support the process.
Okay, so, does it make sense to try to get this going in December?
Yes, because you've
Okay,
got
yeah.
budget, you've got your FinCom.
Oh, that's right, you got the budget stuff. So a request needs to be sent out to the
Personnel board.
personnel board. There you go again, that personnel board needs to meet. And to the finance committee for a representative,
And then.
and then find some dates.
So can the 3 of you decide which one of you wants to be on it tonight?
Now?
Yeah.
Does anybody want to do it?
Just
throw it out there.
I think Eric does.
No, I don't.
I'm the liaison, so I'm the liaison to the
Yeah.
police department.
Yeah.
Does that support or negate that?
I don't think
guess
it does
that's
anything.
That's
Okay.
whatever you want. I don't think it's a problem.
I mean, I don't mind sitting in on that, I don't mind.
Okay, yeah, you.
And I can make some room, yeah, for
Okay,
daytime.
available, all right,
I can make
so
room for daytime.
Melissa will do it.
That's fine with me.
That's great. Okay,
So
who's gonna send out the email to
I will
the
email finance and the personnel
personnel?
board.
And, do you guys wanna come up with some tentative dates? Like the second week in December or something to,
Sure.
on a Tuesday or Thursday?
To meet and do it?
Yeah.
Why don't we find out who's gonna be on the board first?
All right,
And see where,
Okay.
yeah, where
Oh,
those
all right.
numbers fall.
That's
Yeah.
not an open meeting,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can just meet
Okay.
to negotiate.
Oh, all right, okay, great, okay.
So then I'll put the schedule as a.
Okay. The next item is the ARPA expenditures, and I know, Gabe, you and I spoke about this
And I
morning.
have, yes, and I have results.
Okay, and
Amazing, Grace.
I found out something else that I just want to make sure you knew, because I was trying to reach Mary Ann, and I think all the money is accounted for.
All the money is accounted for.
Good, okay, good, we agree.
So we looked at the balance, and there was 53,000, there was a balance, and it's all been expended.
Okay,
3,000 is going to the wetland services,
right,
and then the 5623 is going to the library.
yeah,
So we do have to rebuild the chart where all the money went, just so that
Okay.
everybody has an idea of what we spent it on.
right,
That technically should be done before April, but yes, there is no
Okay.
balance in the ARPA.
okay, good.
Yeah.
I know there was a question about the year-end reporting. And any ARPA reporting that needs to be done, is that?
The ARPA reporting, well, we have to make sure all contracts are signed by December 31, which is why I needed to know what was on the chart.
Right.
So that was one of the things I was looking for. My understanding is I was given the contract for the wetlands, so I have it in
Okay,
hand.
good.
I have in hand the library contract.
Okay, great.
So those two pieces are taken care of. There's a little question about the school roof. So I haven't quite got clarification on that. It looks like the school roof was paid from two sources, ARPA and an earmark.
Right,
And so I need the contract for that.
okay. And make sure it's the right school roof, because there were two school roofs,
Yeah.
right? There was the gymnasium that was done earlier, and then the main, is
So
that
it's
right?
foggy,
Yeah.
yes.
Just-
So
yeah.
going forward, our accountant needs to have copies of all contracts. And she also needs to sign off that the appropriation is there on all contracts. So that hasn't been done, and that's one thing that we need to do going forward.
Mhm.
Because something like this would have been easy. I could have gone to her,
Right.
she could have
She
pulled
would have
it out
all
of
the
her
contracts.
files.
Yeah,
And she did give me contracts she had, but some of them have been there a while, so.
okay. So is that something, so typically we sign contracts at this meeting, and then the town administrator would give it to
We
the
should have,
accountants?
and this is, Abby, I don't want you to be afraid. After the meeting's over, everything goes back to the admin secretary.
Okay,
And typically she distributes.
okay,
So that contract should be given to the accountant, to the TA, and then sent wherever it needs to go.
okay.
And a scanned copy saved electronically.
Right. So we need to start getting some of our systems in place, but it's slow going because I'm not here with her a lot.
Right,
And when I am here, I'm inundated with items, so I didn't get to spend much time with her today. So we're trying to rectify that.
yeah, okay,
So that's the order, yeah.
okay.
And that's different from employment contracts go to Ryan. Yes, no, or is
Yeah.
that the county?
Well, employment contracts do go to the TA, but Ryan should have a PAF or something.
Something that calls
From the select board explaining wages and all of that.
Okay,
So I did find the PAF folder.
you did,
Mhm.
okay, great. All right, the next item on the agenda is if we have any updates from our liaisons.
And so I do, that's the next
Okay.
one, which is the FISC stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we have, hold on one moment, so we have down at the FISC, culvert, Lake Boyola, we have a beaver, which we knew about.
Okay,
And so Dave Grenier he's a nuisance one. He is building a dam and blocking that culvert up because beavers like to do those sort of things.
Mhm.
And right now the lake is lower than the water on the other side of his dam. So he's been in contact with a trapper. It's trapping season, November through April 1st. You can trap beavers. And right now the highway guys are going down and they're digging out the stuff in the mud and trying to keep it open. And the beaver's been very prolific. And the beaver deceiver is going to block the culvert. The Pine Brook Camp wants to maintain the kayak entrance on that side of the culvert to access the lake and go underneath the road into the lake. So part of this is the trapper has determined it may be more beneficial to use a different type of trap than the suitcase box trap. And to use what is called a Canterbury or body trap. It does need to have a permit specifically for that trap. It is different than the fox trap, which is a live trap in which the beaver is dispatched after it's trapped. This Canterbury trap or body trap is more instantaneous and there is no dispatching needed. It dispatches the beaver. Instantaneous.
Dispatches is another.
Yes. Dispatch. So he's he's got some questions, the Board of Health had determined that there wasn't, for what they saw, they were open to discussion, at immediate look, there wasn't the determination of health and safety, risk that going to this trap would be. There is a safety risk to the highway personnel that are in the water because beavers bring Giardia to the water, and they're in splashing around, and they can get Giardia from the water. You only need a teeny bit to ingest. So the beaver deceiver is an option too, but Pine Brook wants to keep the trap, keep the access open. So that's kind of where we are on this particular issue.
And how is the Conservation Commission?
He knows he has to go to them, so he was
Okay.
bringing it to us, our
I see.
attention, as
Okay.
something he didn't know if we wanted to discuss the difference in the trap. Board of Health, have a larger discussion between the committees about this particular thing, or, if there was support, if we had support for him to use this other option. The trapper does get these permits from other towns pretty readily, to do it in this fashion. So that's kind of the lowdown on our beaver.
yeah.
There are colonies of beavers further up the river that will move down, and that's where this particular guy had come from, so.
I don't feel qualified to opine.
No,
On what beaver trap, it's used, I guess I would defer to the Board of Health and the Conservation Commission, yeah, on that. I'm a beaver deceiver.
The deceiver is,
No, just
he's
kidding.
happy to use the beaver, the deceiver part.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
thing is that does block access, so it is a way of the beaver gets to continue having its ability to do its thing.
Right.
The deceiver keeps the water flowing and doesn't
Right.
create the wetland or the backup of the water,
Yeah,
so but that
Everybody's-
doesn't allow the access for Pine Brook.
yeah.
And then he did have a question too, as far as trapping and such, where would the funding come from? Because it is because of the colonies above, we could be having multiple issues.
Yeah, we
of
should get
cost.
right, so
Yeah.
he should figure out what the costs are gonna be, and then see if there's anything in his budget, and then if not.
He did mention he didn't have a beaver budget line in his budget.
Right,
so-
right. But I'm just wondering, yeah. Yeah.
And asked it, so the budget, okay.
Yeah. Just, yeah, I don't know if it would fit anywhere else in the budget, and if it doesn't, then we'll have to talk to the finance committee.
So we do have until April 1st, I think
Okay.
he said, that's when trapping season is up for beavers.
Okay. Do you have anything?
Well, I'm trying to
Questions,
understand
I can ask more
how we
questions.
would get the Board of Health and the Concom to look at this.
They're already doing- he's doing it.
He's contacted.
Dave.
the
Oh,
Board
he's
of
doing it
Health.
already?
Yeah,
Okay, great,
yeah.
Board of
okay,
Health
then all right,
did
that's
invite
good.
him
Yeah.
to
Okay,
come
I
to
missed
discuss
that.
it further at a meeting about, the need to change the type of trap and and the benefits of that versus the other, and, the discussions that they would have there, so. But I told him I'd bring it to you guys, so you guys would know.
Okay.
Anything from LWAC that,
LWAC, I know they're gonna bring something to the, I don't have a copy of it, I need to have so much paper. I do actually. One of the things they're worried about lately is wildfire, the whole country's so
Right.
dry,
right,
and the Lake Boyle community is so tightly knit with little egress for people and so forth.
yeah,
So I think that they'd like the emergency management committee to take a look at what could be done, or what should be done about
Okay.
that.
and we have a meeting coming up, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
don't we?
the 11th,
December-
10th, 11th.
Yeah.
Which I know I can't go.
Somewhere in there.
Okay, so if you want to send something to us or to the committee, then we could,
You want me to, I'll send you this letter if you want.
yeah,
Okay.
that would be great.
And
And
since
to
he's on,
Lenny,
and since he's on that, I do want to update for the fire department too, if I can.
yeah, go for it.
So I learned last night talking to the chief that, the pump engine 2 pump is being serviced in Rhode Island currently. He should have it back Thursday. Just so we know that, and the brush tanker has an electric issue he's working on, just so we know that those are 2 things that are not, operating optimally,
Okay.
so.
I also know from the Lake Oil Stormwater Erosion Task Force. I never can remember what the name of that committee is, but that's what it is, I believe. My sense is right now we're trying to figure out whether or not there's a way to, well, there's a lot of different ideas, but one of the ideas is to have an engineering study of the whole situation there, what to do in terms of, it's like you sort of start with outside of the lake, the town roads basically sort of feed into the lake just because the lake's down lower. So that's one of the issues. One of the issues is that they have a lot of water that the town roads basically dump onto the
Lake roads.
roads.
Right.
So the idea would maybe to have and you could correct me, Tom, if you think this is right. That's my sense of what the committee's talking about, right? The idea being that an engineering, the idea is that it has to really be looked at as a whole project. That's the idea. We're hoping to get some grant money and so forth. It's a little vague. It's just starting. We're looking into different grants.
So FERCog did this
Yes.
thing. Is this this watershed-based plan for Lake Wyola?
Yeah.
Is this of any value in, like, I mean, they're a great resource. I'm wondering if,
They're actually gonna come to the FERCog members.
Oh, okay.
Come the next, Lake Wyola, Erosion Study Task Force meeting to help us with a grant situation.
okay.
Where to apply for grant. Because it's a very tricky thing, obviously, because you've got this like town and private road situation where,
Right.
Right. It's tough. There's only so many grants that can deal with that.
Right.
I think, Kristen, you got something to say, so.
Yeah. Kristen?
There you go.
I'm unmuting, sorry. Okay. I just wanted to say that I did send to Melissa the statewide wildfire operations situational awareness statement number 2. It's actually got a lot of information on there, Eric, as far as, what's actually been happening, how many acres have been involved in October and November, et cetera. And it actually has some beautiful geographics and maps in regards to the same. So I will make sure that I send that to you as well. And then the other thing that I wanted to bring forward is, and I just want to bring it up in my email real quick so I don't get it wrong. Speaking of FERCog, 2 seconds. Okay, so this is from Dan Nishi, I think is how you pronounce his name. I probably just murdered that. They're reaching out to consider participating in planning subcommittee of the Regional Emergency Planning Committee. Those that become part of the subcommittee will be tasked with revising regional shelter plan, regional evacuation plan, regional debris management plan, et cetera. I just got an email from him in regards to this. I just actually opened it as you were talking over all of these items in the agenda. I'll make sure you get that as well. It sounds like they're looking for someone or some people throughout Franklin County to be a part of this subcommittee in regards to that. And I think that might be helpful because we have Lake Wyola to see if there's any interest in getting anyone from our town. That doesn't mean that I'm volunteering, just so we're clear. Somebody with much more experience should volunteer. If I'm voluntold, you know that I follow through. But I did want you to take a look, Eric, and I'll send that to you and maybe you can share it with LWAC the actual statistics that are happening. And then we're always constantly asking the public, please understand and follow the safety guidelines in regards to open fires, outdoor fires, or anything of that nature. We need to be ever so careful right now. That's all.
Okay, I agree.
Okay, getting myself distracted here. I think that's it for reports, yes?
Yeah, I did go to the meetings. There was a meeting this morning of the MWRA, which is the
Massachusetts Water Resource Authority.
That's what I thought. Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, that's, yeah, I know.
And in a nutshell, this is at the very, very beginning, but as a study has been done to potentially bring town water to some parts of Shutesbury, and just basically all the Quabbin towns that are contributing water to the Quabbin. And one of the issues that came up is people saying, you're gonna charge us for water that we give you? That's, which isn't exactly right, because we do get pilot money, I suppose. No, nobody mentioned that, and I didn't either, because I figured, why should, whatever. Anyway, that's really just starting. They just are starting to think about it. And it's years away and millions of dollars away, as you might just hundreds of millions of dollars away. So anyway, that's just a big thing. And I did mention, for example, like in the town of Shutesbury, I mentioned at this meeting that the area of town they're talking about bringing water happens to be the area of town that's probably most PFAS contaminated. So eventually, as I've said for a long time, I think that PFAS issue is one of the biggest issues. And I was really surprised at this committee meeting that a number of people like Pelham and Peterson, they're all like raising their hand saying, well, yeah, we get PFAS too. And so it's like, I didn't realize that as many people had it. Thinking about it, I guess I should have realized that, but anyway.
Okay.
Those are two issues that are just going to that are bubbling under. I guess that's fair to say in a water report.
Great, thank you. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the town administrator report, and I have a few things I wanted to just check in on if you gave too.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, and well, actually, the first one is for the select board. So I had forwarded to you an email from Michael DiChiara regarding the solar litigation, and so it's going to be a two-step process. There's eventually going to be mediation is happening on the solar litigation, and the planning board is going to be meeting an executive session on the 25th, which I believe is Monday, right? To talk about strategy for the mediation, and then the mediation itself is, I think, scheduled sometime in January. I can't remember the date. So Monday night is just about strategy, and I don't believe it's the whole planning board, but I'll have to go back. There were so many emails, I couldn't keep track. But we're all invited, because ultimately the litigation kind of comes back to the select board. The reason the planning board is involved is because they, they're on the front lines if and when an application is made. So it's really important to have their input. So I guess I do need to know if you're going to come, because if you're going to come, we need to post a meeting.
I can't come.
You can't come, okay.
I know that.
Melissa?
Yeah, why don't you post a meeting on that?
Post it?
Yeah, I'll be able to peek in.
So you're joining the planning board meeting?
Yes.
Is it in person or on Zoom?
No.
Zoom.
Okay, so let me
Yeah, I
just.
might be able to come in later too, so yeah, we should.
If we post it, then we don't need it, we
No, we
don't.
don't, yeah, we don't
Okay.
use it.
So,
Under safety.
so Monday, it needs to be posted by the end of the day, Thursday, for Monday night, and.
What time is that?
Hold on, I just got out.
I just want to add it to the calendar, so.
Is
I don't,
is there an agenda that you're gonna do, or just?
let me just look and see what's up, because I don't know if, I don't think it's the whole planning board. And it's a meeting with the attorneys. I think both Donna and Adam Costa are gonna be there. Again, I'd have to go back through all those emails.
Technically, you should just send one of you, not all of you.
Okay, then that's fine.
Just send one person, yeah. Okay, I can do it, yeah. All right, why don't I just do it, and then it makes it simpler. But then when and this is just about the strategy for the mediation. When the mediation itself happens, if the whole select board wants to participate, then.
So that was January.
Yeah, and I think I forwarded you all the emails, but there were so many that.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I was confused, because I thought that meeting was, that was
No, I
negotiation,
know,
but
it's
it's the executive session plan for negotiation,
Yes.
which is,
Yeah.
I still can't go, it's just,
Yeah,
or at least plan on going at the beginning of it,
Yeah.
so.
okay, all right, so I'll just do it. The other thing, there were a couple of other things. One was we have an outstanding open meeting law request, which is asking, a public records request, not open meeting law, public records request, which is asking for minutes, a whole series of minutes, which I went through my records, and I think I have almost all of them. Some of them we have not approved. Yes, they're in draft form, but in reading through the AG's guide, it says, the law requires that existing minutes be made available to the public within 10 days of a request, whether they have been approved or remain in draft form. So when I was originally thinking about this, I thought, oh, we have to, the ones that we haven't approved, we would need to do at our next meeting. But we could also forward the ones that we have. I was missing just a couple. So Eric, I know you took them, and maybe if you can find them.
I think those early ones either, I did not take her first ones, I know
This one?
I
That
don't think-
11,
I don't think I took those, I'm pretty sure I did. I thought either,
823, that was at a select board meeting?
either Geneva did or Becky did.
Yeah, we can-
Becky took some, I believe. Right?
Anyway, Grace is out next week for 3 days.
I don't think she's going to be out.
Oh, she isn't?
Today, when she left, she mentioned about not being able to go to
Okay,
her conference, so I'm not sure. We have to check with her tomorrow.
okay. So we have, I don't know when this request came in, because it
I
was
don't either. Forwarded.
not forwarded with a date on it. So it got forwarded to us with just, here's what we need. So I think we just need to figure out when is that 10th day, and we could send them in draft form, the ones we have approved, and then the rest in draft form, and that would meet our obligations.
So your town clerk is responding to this?
Yes,
Okay.
but
just
we
wanted
have to make sure that she has all of these
mention
minutes.
it. Okay.
So,
So what's the date on that first one?
it was 11/8.
So, yeah, we did,
Was that our
Donna
first session?
Donna McNichols did respond.
Yeah.
And she gave us language to respond to this.
Yeah,
Attorney Mazer, I emailed him.
okay.
He responded with, "What are you talking about?" So I hope to jog his memory.
Okay.
And with what you gave me tonight, that gives me more to tell him.
Yeah,
So I'll do that tomorrow. I'll
Okay.
reconnect with him,
okay,
because you just need the response from him.
yeah, yeah. and then we just give everything to, I just wanted to get it all to Grace as soon as possible.
Right, I agree.
So if we can figure out where that 11.8 is, and then I think you said you had the 625.
Yeah, I do that.
So,
yeah.
and I have everything else.
I have it right there, you
So,
can have it.
oh, okay, oh, great, okay,
I believe that's a 625.
yeah. All of these should have, whether they're drafts or, I don't know, do you still have the original, we just have to stamp draft on this. 'Cause-
Oh, yeah, I do have the original, I can stamp draft on it.
Yeah,
I
if
don't
you
have
could
it.
stamp draft on it,
Okay.
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 So
I'll
we
do
get
that.
the 625, we just have to find
So
the
the
11.8, we're all
11,
set.
Looking on the calendar
Yeah.
on mine, it looks like it was part of, like, we did our normal
Yes.
meeting and then, right, so.
And Geneva was
it may
there,
have been, yeah.
and so there's gotta be minutes from that. That was the only one she was a part of.
So that should be Nabby's computer, maybe?
Potentially.
Okay. So we'll just-
What's the date on that? 11.
November 8th, 2023. And you'll get that to.
Yeah.
What's the easiest thing to do? Should I just forward all of what we have
I would forward it all straight to the town clerk.
Straight to the
because
town
it's
clerk,
time
okay.
sensitive. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Eric, I know on some of the copies, there were just like spelling corrections that we made. Can you make those? You'll see like here, like I spelled Brian, I put brain. I called him brain, or Melissa, I didn't have the 2 L's.
I don't have
You
2
didn't
L's.
have- Oh.
Perfect.
Melissa, I had 2 L's, and it was always supposed to be 1 L. Yes, okay, right. So we just need to, and Brian Mazur's name was spelled, it was just misspellings. So you'll have copies of all of that now.
I
I just gave it to you. I gave it to you tonight. I gave you
I
my,
put some paper here, I don't want to.
yeah.
I'll straighten
Here,
it
this
out.
is the packet.
Okay.
Do you want it separate?
Is that your packet?
Yes,
You
it's
keep
my
that.
packet.
Oh, if you gave it to me already, I'll find it.
Yeah, it's there. You're going through it right as we speak. Okay.
See, I have my own copies, you told me to print out copies, so I.
Well, I wasn't sure everybody was gonna have
I
copies,
have more
so,
copies of stuff than I know.
we know about that. Okay, I think that's it. And we have a request from the Conservation Commission just for, that we need to follow up on. One of the things I thought, I don't know if you saw that from Beth.
No, I
Wilson?
didn't. I
Okay.
read most of the emails, but I kind of went through and prioritized which ones that I had to go through first.
Okay,
There were a ton of them today.
yeah, okay.
So,
all right.
So just a point of a question, say that first one, let's assume we can't find it, what does that mean?
We will, I mean, it's gotta be there because Geneva was there, so she would have
Alright,
taken.
All right,
Or if we can't find it, we'll say we can't find it. but
Right.
It's, that was a meeting that she was there, so she took some minutes.
okay,
And we have all the rest of them.
you can get more time. She can respond with what she has and say,
Yeah.
this will be forthcoming. So
We
you,
can't find it.
yeah, in the 10 days' time, you can, in a public records request, respond that you need more time.
right. I mean, this is just sort of the perfect storm of no town, no,
Right.
yeah, town administrator leaving, the administrative secretary she left, you know, so it's whatever, just sort of this perfect storm of records here.
Right. Okay, that's it for me, except, one more thing. Sorry, town administrator report. Do we need to do a town announce, about the town meeting? And is there anything
Probably
else?
should.
And that's
Just-
on one of my
It is,
asks.
okay, fine, you go ahead then.
So, the first thing, we talked about the ARPA thing, so I'm not gonna go over
Yep.
that. The first thing I wanna do with you folks is know what our December schedule is so that we can schedule our meetings. So are we going to meet, here's what I have, we're meeting the 3rd before the town meeting.
So at 5 o'clock.
So the 3rd at 5
We should make that at the school, so we're at the place
Yeah.
of the meeting.
at the school,
Yeah.
okay? And then the 10th, we're meeting the 10th. So if it's, so I have to watch the FinCom meetings and their schedule because they are on the same night you are. So our times are gonna flip back and forth, 5, 6, 5, 6. Hopefully that'll end and it won't
Yeah.
disturb people. So we're meeting the 10th, right?
Yeah.
And that's at 6.
I'm not sure. Is it
Oh.
at 6? I'm not sure. I have to go through and figure out,
Well, we're saying 12/3 at 5, well, that's before the town meeting.
Yeah, that's before town meeting.
Gotcha.
right,
For my
so
own
the
personal schedule, I'll say
26th,
the
the 26th is a FinCom meeting. So if they stay the course of every other week, the 10th would be a FinCom meeting. So
Okay.
you would meet at 5
So
on
we
the
can meet
10th.
at 5 on the 10th.
The
Is that okay?
17th,
Yeah, I'll have to.
are we doing the 17th?
That's unusually scheduled, select board meeting.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's at 6.
because we might be moving into the search committee at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say do it if it's
Yeah,
half an
6
hour.
o'clock.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now we're talking about Christmas Eve. Typically during that week, you don't have a select board meeting. So are you going to want to, now you have 2 weeks in a row where you have the 24th and the 31st. So what is your pleasure with that? Do you want to not meet those 2 weeks and start right away in January? Do you want to meet on a Monday night? And I don't know if there's a conflict with any other boards on Monday nights.
We had a mini discussion about this prior to you coming
Okay.
on, and I think we had picked the 30th. That's what I have on my thing, although, you know,
Christmas week, we don't meet. Is that
Don't
what?
need
we had
Christmas
skipped
week.
that. We had stuck it on that
Yeah.
Monday, the 30th.
And the
to
30th?
split the
Meet the
difference.
30th? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we had,
good.
that's what we had discussed, I think.
So
That's what I
that-
had on my calendar.
Okay, so that would be at 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we will go ahead and start, we're trying to get it, we're gonna book a month at a time.
Right, right.
So that we have it all listed and done.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think you have it set up in our Google Drive. You have all the meetings in there, the full
So yeah, I
folders,
have
right?
tossed, yes, so I have all the folders, so I'll go and make sure that I capture these folders, so you have a
Mhm.
drop spot,
mhm.
for
Yeah,
those.
so
So
Abby
I will
needs
add
the
in
drop
and-
spot.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I will make sure you guys both have that link.
So one of the
we
things I
couldn't do
wanted
that
to say
today.
is anything you want to add to the agenda, any paperwork or anything, please send it directly to Abby.
Okay,
Because she's the one that's here Monday through Friday.
right,
She can put it up in the folder the minute she gets it.
right.
So you're not getting a ton of emails.
Mhm.
It's just gonna be in there for you to look at.
Okay,
And we've all
Okay.
been trained now to look in the folder
Yeah.
for stuff.
yeah.
Okay, so,
Do it. I look in the folder. What do you mean?
No. I mean, today was the first time I put stuff in the folder.
And
I
how
haven't
easy
done it.
was
It was
that?
very easy. It was
I
very
look
easy.
in the folder
Yeah.
all the time.
so
I do.
the Zoom continues to be a problem.
Mhm.
And so today I gave, I can never remember his name, Mateo.
Oh, yeah.
I had to go through my Rolodex. Mateo is going to book all planning board, Concom, all their meetings, and he's gonna start their meetings.
Great.
So that solved that problem. Planning board likes to do their own, but he's gonna talk with them and make sure everything's kosher there.
Okay.
So that relieves a lot of pressure on Mateo. So he's doing that. This credit card, I'm gonna double up here. The credit card is a problem. The company we had a credit card with will not reopen our credit card account because of past payment responsibilities. And there was a secondary credit card we had, and they too will not reopen our account because of past payment problems. So I don't know if anybody who draws a credit report from the town is gonna say yes to a credit card.
Right.
We have a company, we're gonna try, TD Bank, and see if they will, let us have one. So Zoom wants a credit card to pay their charges to. So all these companies do now. Fuel, web renewals, Microsoft subscriptions, all those, they want these annual charges to go on a credit card. So
How
I
do
have,
other towns do it? They have credit
they
cards?
have credit cards.
I wonder why those companies do that, it's it costs them money to use the credit cards, I'm trying to understand.
It doesn't matter, as long as the credit card
Because you
bill
can
is.
charge it right away.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, they're not waiting for a check
Yeah.
or.
No, I know
Get
that,
paid
too, no,
instantly,
I'm
and
sure
you-
somebody's figured it out, but.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then
I'm
you
thinking-
get an email with the invoice in it saying that they've charged you.
Yeah.
And then
They
you
get
go to
paid
your
right away.
credit card bill and you print the piece of paper where they've charged you for the subscription, because I do it in this, I've done it everywhere else. And then that's what we put through the warrant to pay the credit card bill.
Oh, I see.
That's how that works, but you gotta be highly sensitive to credit card bills.
You have to be on top of it.
Very
Right.
much so, because you have delays. You have delays in the warrant being every 2 weeks. So if that invoice gets in late, you're not gonna be able to pay that credit card bill without a past due charge. So credit cards are tough on treasurers, generally speaking. What I've done in the past is I've had one credit card gets checked out as a library card, and that has to be brought back with the invoice so that we can process it the day the charge is made. And then those checks get produced by your warrant, and they get held till the actual credit card bill comes in, put with the, so then you don't have a delay in the payment.
So you're ahead of the.
You're ahead of the game,
Mhm.
but it requires somebody really paying attention. So what I've done is emailed Zoom. There's a sales team, and I'm hoping to hear back from them. I haven't heard back from them today. Email them to see if there's a way that we can wire a payment, ACH a payment, to get this thing solved. If we have to have a credit card and they don't see it any other way, we either have to use somebody's personal credit card, or we have to take more time to get this resolved. So this is not an ideal situation. So I guess my message here is stay tuned. We're gonna limp along like we're limping now, and vital departments need to book their own Zooms and open their own Zooms,
Right.
and we're catching them as they're coming to me. And so far, it's been going well. People have been excited about being able to do their own Zoom.
Mhm.
So we'll see how that, I'll update you as that moves along. So I don't know how your hiring process works here, because as a town administrator, I had hiring authority given to me. You're a smaller town, so I'm not sure how it works. So we have snow and ice coming up, and the highway needs to hire private plowers. I don't know if historically Shutesbury has let their highway super just deal with hiring private plowers or not.
You mean like for the lake and stuff?
We have
Right.
two vendors.
Yeah.
We have two vendors
Clark
that,
and-
Clark and I can't remember the name of the other one, that they send notices, and I told Dave today, yes, tell them, yes, we're using them. They have a contract. Tim's always done that in the past. But we have four subs that we want to hire on, and they're winter, they're subs, so they're winter, and he calls them, they're on call. Not all four will work the same week unless you have a blizzard or something really serious. So typically I would just tell Dave, go ahead, sign, and what we do is we have a contract. Now these four will be driving town trucks, okay? None of them that we have currently have CDLs. So the rates on snow plowers are usually determined by the market and not by the personnel board, because that fluctuates.
Right.
So the contractors have their own rate. I hope I'm not overdoing my explanation.
No, then.
Contractors have their own rate because they charge mileage, gasoline, wear and tear on their trucks, so they have a flat fee. And your flat fee this year is the same as it was last year. So it's not bad, considering what they provide, because they sand and the whole 9 yards. What was the first company you named? Clark, theirs is $750 every time they plow. But they do a big area, and they're sanding, and they're doing all of
Right.
that. So, so we're gonna, Leverett is doing $30 and $35 an hour. That is more than the highway guys are getting paid, but it is different because these guys are on call, they're not overtime.
No
It's
benefits.
no benefits,
Right.
so instead of being in competition, now, the problem with being in competition with the towns in the area is you're not gonna get your substitute plow people if you don't pay a fair market rate.
Right.
So $30 without a CDL and $35 with a CDL. So the 4 applicants don't have CDLs. 2 of them will be called first because of their experience and the history we have with them. The other 2 will be on call secondary. So,
What trucks do we have that aren't sitting, we have the smaller truck. No, I'm not familiar,
he told me they drive the small trucks.
but, okay.
I don't think you need a CDL for the 550. Do you still have the 550? I don't know what you have for vehicles, but that's up to date.
Yeah, now, right.
Yeah, so I'd like to tell them, go ahead and go for it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. That's
Yeah, I
how
think
we
the
did
only
it in
thing
the
that, yeah,
past.
and then we just voted to appoint them that position,
Yeah.
if we had to, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're just on-call snowplow
Yeah.
drivers,
Okay.
on-call storm drivers. And he will have a contract with any of them, and if they do use their private vehicles, I guess you didn't have this, but today I asked him to get insurance policies. So on your vendors, you have to have insurance policies, so he got them.
Mhm.
And then if somebody uses their private truck, a private plow, one of the 4, then we need the insurance policy, and we need to inspect the trucks.
Okay.
So Dave said he did inspect a truck today, and he did give me an insurance policy, so we're good, on that. And my next thing was, how do
Thank
you,
you for thoroughly thinking that out one day. I
no,
appreciate
no
that.
problem. That's the job.
Yep.
So the special town meeting, how do you get information out there? We gave it to,
Yeah, maybe that's the town announce.
So, I don't remember how we did it in the past. This is how I'd like to see it. A town announce that tells people to go to the website to look at the warrant. I don't think we need to attach it. I think you just have a link to the warrant and say. that
So-
we're- yeah.
who puts the warrant on the town website? Is it
That's a
your
great
town
question.
clerk? That's what I'm
Likely it is her or through the web committee she does. So I don't know which is, if it's the third one. No, if it's to the Gail Fleischicker for the web.
That's what,
committee.
I just looked at
Yeah,
her, she's
yeah,
not on
she just
anymore.
left.
I don't know exactly the path, so it's either her herself or that.
So we need to get that up there.
Yes, they may do it themselves because they post minutes too, so it.
Okay, so that was my next question, is who do you do it? Joe Comerford would like to come and have us as a town, you as a town, ask questions about things you want her to do, things you're curious about where they're going or heading through, road work, what the state's doing, whatever. I did go to her town hall meeting in Orange, just to see what it was she was talking about, her and Susie Whips. I think she's just talking about her coming here by herself. And so what the select board did is they all had questions. So they each took a turn with their questions and asked her. So she would like to do this before the end of December. So if with your permission, can give her the dates you're having meetings, which would be the 10th or the 17th.
Yeah.
And give her that choice
Okay.
to schedule her.
Yeah.
Okay, if she's available. So
And I know that when Elena Cohen had first gotten in touch with us, she'd also asked just for some preview of the kinds of questions we might have before Joe comes. So, and this is a select board, it's not an all-town thing, so it's not a.
It's a select board meeting, but anybody's welcome to come.
Anybody's welcome, it's an
Yeah.
open meeting, but I think, at least the way I interpreted what Elena said, it's like the select board asking
right?
the
For
questions.
the
and then I
interactions and not a
Well,
larger
yeah, I
town
mean,
hall type meeting with.
right, or a community meeting.
Right.
It's not a, yeah.
We did not have, Orange didn't have anybody in the audience ask any questions,
Right.
so.
And I don't think they expect, because they wouldn't have, again, have
Yeah.
previewed, so.
So if there is, if there is somebody out there who, somebody watches the YouTube, they can always email the Shutesbury
Selectboard.
Selectboard
Yes.
with their question, and then maybe you guys can represent them in it.
Yep.
So I'll respond to Elena, because I told her I would talk to you guys tonight about it.
Great.
I do have an update on the fire chief. He's been given clearance to come back to full-time work and on light duty. So we should see him Monday through Friday at the fire station 8 hours a day. So the last thing that I really wanted to go over was tie and bond. The PFAS thing is really concerning me, and I know it's concerning you guys as well. So he was, I think his name is Jeffrey R.
Jeffrey Knox, yeah.
So he's on vacation right now.
Oh, no.
And so he's coming back, but he thankfully responded to me. And I've asked him for all the contracts, because I don't know where they are. So Gail needs them. And I talked with Gail today about how much money we've gone through. He will come and bring us up to speed. I've asked him to show us examples of the letters, basically start at zero, because Abby and I need to figure out how to do these letters. There's a time schedule on when these letters should be going out. I don't know what the time schedule is. So I said to him yesterday is really when I want to meet with you. So I hope to have met with him before our next meeting, but I'm not sure when he's coming back. So he said to me he would do it. He's in Westfield. So he said to me he would come out and do the transition. It wasn't the way he phrased it. It wasn't the way I hoped we would transition. But yeah, but if anybody wants to come when he comes, you're welcome to join and just listen to what he has to say.
Yeah, if you could let us know
Yeah, just
when
let us
it
know.
is,
Yeah,
I think
It's
that would be.
it's gonna be a real, so I hope to get that on the rails,
Yeah.
by next meeting, but I make no promises.
Yeah, I mean, that, I think, as I've said to you, that's one of my big fears, is that we're just that we're not meeting our responsibilities and our deadlines. And, every time there's, like, we would hear this continually, every time there's like a new positive finding or something, then they have to do more testing, and it's complicated, and people need to get, like, the church needs to get their filtration system in. And
so thankfully Melissa's helped solve that problem. What we did temporarily, and I did tell Jeffrey that we did it today, because he wrote me again, and I said, I think we've temporarily have a solution for the church.
Good.
So today we went and bought a dispenser, and we have water, and so we just need to get it to them. And
I've talked with someone over there, they're checking with the pastor.
Yeah.
And to coordinate.
About dropping it off.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
Yeah. So that one situation we've got covered while we're waiting to learn about the rest of it.
Okay.
One thing I learned today when I was at that meeting was, like, for example, in Pelham, there's somebody who lives in a house up on top of a mountain, way out in the middle of nowhere. They've got PFAS. Town didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so
does the town have to cover it?
I don't think so. That's my
don't
question,
think so.
example about the church. I mean, they're uphill, they're not next to, I don't know, I'm not trying to take this away.
But we have responsibility because it's within a certain distance from the fire station. So what happened was, every time we had another positive, you had to go out like another,
Right.
I don't know how many feet,
500.
500 feet?
500.
And it was all assumed that it started at the fire station.
Because of how the water, we have, in one of those meetings, they explained it's the fractures are feeding with an aquifer, so it's all connected.
Right.
But no, there are other places in
No, I
town
know there are,
that
there are.
have,
That's right.
that have taken.
Anyway, I'm just raising that as a,
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
you know, I'm not a scientist, but what
Yeah.
just seems like at some point it's a little crazy.
But with everybody's walls being down,
Right,
it all equalizes, right? So,
right,
Yeah, it's becoming a major problem
yeah.
everywhere.
Oh,
It's
I
not
know.
just us, it's everywhere.
So related to that, you know, I know getting a handle on where we are with the money too, because we've had 3 like buckets of money, I think, that we,
last one was
and the
special.
last one is already, we dipped in like $90,000 of the
Right,
150.
the first 150's been spent.
Right,
The second 150, we've earmarked 98,000 out of it, so we
Mhm.
only have a little bit left. So we also need to know how to get more money.
right.
So there's just a whole bunch of stuff. Now, Ryan hasn't borrowed yet, but he should be able to borrow soon because we've got him all the stuff he needs.
Good.
So we did cross that T today. I have to write a letter as town admin, but I don't know what to put in the letter until I meet Ty and Bond, because I don't know what legalese needs to be in there, so I'm gonna ask his advice on that. So I think we're on a roll.
Okay, good.
You know, not as fast as we want, but we're on a roll. Things I have not gotten to, is there's a lot going on. The highway has a major repair on their truck, $9,000 worth of work. He's not gonna have enough money to cover that, so I'm writing FinCom. Fire truck, really, that repair, is gonna be $4,500. Again, that's not enough money. The brush truck 2, I didn't realize we have 2 brush trucks. We have brush truck 1 and brush truck 2.
One smaller than the other.
Yeah, the brush truck 2, according to Lenny, is not a priority. The engine number 2 is the priority right at the moment. So that's where that sits. The highway repair, that truck may not be worth repairing, but we're at the point where FinCom's got to decide what they want to do. So I'm bringing those 2 items to FinCom just so that you're aware of it.
Okay.
And then I have not been able to do anything on culverts, dam, drawdown. So that is just sitting on the back burner because there just isn't. I mean, even if I was working a 40-hour week right now.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Right now, there's just so much going on. So I didn't know that getting capital planning requests out was a TA thing. So there are departments that don't have their capital plan requests, so I've got to do that. And I don't know, maybe they went out and we just didn't see it. You know, I don't know what the situation is there, but there's a lot of housework in housework that we're working on. And that's about it.
The one
right now.
other thing that occurred to me, because I get this letter every year, is the highway superintendent, a number of roads in town that are private roads get plowed by the town, plowed and sanded. They don't get maintained.
Right.
And typically in early November, late October, all property owners get a letter saying, we will not, your road is fine for plowing, no problems, or we will not plow your road unless you do X, Y, and Z. And sometimes it's regrading, or it's cutting brush, or whatever. So I don't know if Dave was, you know, aware of that. And what it means is that someone from the highway department has to go out to all of those roads and make a notation, and then letters have to go out to all those property owners. So I know on my road, each one of the 3 property owners, so I assume there's a master list somewhere. And I don't think, I was just trying to think if I don't think I saved those letters from year to year, but, yeah. He should be reminded about that. And if it doesn't happen this year, it doesn't happen. It's more just if the highway trucks can't go down, everybody needs to know your road isn't in adequate, isn't passable.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Do you wanna ask him, or you want me to ask him about that?
I can ask him tomorrow.
That's fine.
I think I recall seeing something, Gabe, with a folder somewhere along the way that maybe had lists or letters that have been sent out in the past. Do you, when we were doing all the cleanup?
Yeah, I vaguely remember something.
I can look through I did look through the folders today, because I was looking for ARPA stuff. And I did find a folder with a bunch of addresses, but I thought it was PFAS.
Yeah, there was a PFAS master list,
Right.
yeah.
I don't recall.
But this
I
is,
can look
Tim kept a lot of things paper.
Yeah, he's
right,
not.
I think
So
there are files in
very
the highway
well,
department,
it may be paper.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Um,
and not electronic
because-
files, yeah,
yeah, because I don't think there was enough time.
yeah.
Um,
I bet, I mean, he was really
So-
good at record keeping, I bet he
No,
has
he
that
was
up
right,
there.
it just,
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
Yeah,
So, list of private.
but anyway, yeah, if you can check in with Dave on that.
And it was just in summary, it was just telling people they had to make sure that the road was passable and brush.
Yes, but what the highway department did was they went out and visited every road, and then they wrote it up. Like they said,
You need to
Briggs
handle
Road, you need to do X, Y, and Z, it's not passable, or you need to cut, they didn't want their trucks all scratched up, so if there were overhanging trees or whatever. I can't remember a number of roads on that list.
Yeah, that wasn't something that I had experienced at Lady Slipper Lanes completely.
Apparently it's not gonna snow anymore anyway, so.
Yeah.
I don't get worried about it. It's like 85 degrees.
All winter.
So
All
that's
right,
it.
yeah, I'll check in
Okay.
with Dave about that, but it's a
Okay.
folder, I know there's a folder, he
All
will be
right.
able to find that.
Okay, great. All right, so do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Second
All
and
right,
third.
second and third, and all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Lisa Neal, aye?
Stalker,
Carol, aye. Thank you, thanks very much, Gabe, for all your hard work, and yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. Great having you on the team.
Yes, yes.
Well, it is, seriously, but,